Boom.
Buying a new property, there is a principle called the banana bump that we're going to, or the banana bump that we're going to explain to you. Stay tuned.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak, episode 421. I was just going to bring up an image of banana. It's always very interesting completing a project as an agency. We're always very excited to work on a new project, especially start to finish, where you sell the developer the site, go through planning, then you got maybe a year, 3 years on the market. You're dealing with so many different feedbacks, comments, and then you see then when the project is completed, sold out, it's a total different world. And I think Mark, Meriton is a really, really good case study on off the plan, because it was just such a big iconic development. Everyone had an opinion on it. Love it or hate it before it was built. The screens went black. Can you still? Yeah.
I got ya.
Okay. Or it was such a huge project. Everyone had an opinion, and this was before a bit of soil was ever dug. And then you've got everyone with the opinion now. But the pricing had some patterns, didn't it? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so look, fortunately, we've sold a lot of off the plan over the last 10 years, where we're probably, the amount of lots that we've traded in terms of a company on the Northern Beaches, we're number one, and new lots particularly. So we understand what happens in off the plan and the patterns that are formed. And the banana patterns, actually, the banana jump's the most exciting of all. If you understand that, and if you're buying well, it's a massive way to get some really good capital growth out of a property. So I'll explain, Burge, the bananas. You apply it to how it happened in the Meriton building of 360 units. Yeah.
Yes. No problem.
So the bananas, like if I'm a family and I have 6 bananas that I buy every week. Little Johnny takes one to school every second day. Little Mary has one. Dad has 2. Mum has 1. If I buy 10 bananas, my family doesn't. They are useless to my family. I have to give them away. So I'm used to always buying these bananas at a certain price. I buy them on a weekly basis. Now, that's all I can consume. If someone comes to me and says, I have another 30 bananas I want you to buy this week, I'm thinking to myself as a whoever's purchasing, mum or dad, I'm going, well, that's great, but we only really consume 6. We can't get rid of 30. We can't consume 30. We can't get rid of 30. So, no thanks. At what point do I have to reduce the price of those bananas to make you buy the unnecessary amount of bananas that you don't need? So are the bananas going to have to be half price to buy a box of bananas instead of 6? Do the bananas have to be 10% of the price I'm actually paying for you to buy that box of bananas to make it worth it to hand it out to everyone? That is the principle that we're talking about today when it comes to property, and applying that over to property. So if we move that over to apartment sales, over to you, Burge.
Yeah, so if you move that over to apartment sales, we'll swap the bananas for units. DY, let's say 3 bedrooms, sell 30 3-bedroom apartments per month. And then you've got a new development which you may have 20 or 100 that you need. Well, I'm bringing it to smaller numbers. 10 3-bedders normally sell, but you've got 30 that you want to sell in that month. 3 times the amount, especially this really applies towards the tail end of a development where there can be some really good value. So the developer has 2 options here. They can wait 3-4 months after completion, but a lot of the time the developer does not want to do that. They've made their money towards basically from the start to the finish, and they really want to cash out all at once at the very end. So they understand if only 10 3-bedders normally sell in that 30 days, and I've got 30 to sell, there can be some great opportunities. Meriton, for example, they were, without a view, $1 million. And then what we saw, they sold really quickly, especially when buyers could walk through them, touch them. They loved it. But then 6 months later, 3 months later, once the whole project was sold out, then when you saw 1 3-bedroom come on the market. So DY already does 10, and you saw an additional 1. They were coming on the market at a much higher price point, 10, 20% higher than what it was only 3 months ago. Because if you can imagine, if you've got the normal 30 apartments at DY, 10 apartments DY sell, and an extra 30, if there's only normally 20 buyers in that month looking for a 3-bedroom, and that instead of having 20 buyers compete with 10, you've got 20 buyers competing for 40 apartments. They've got a lot more choice. But then 6 months later, you've got those new 20 buyers only competing for one newish unit in Meriton, or 11 in DY. So as all agents know, it's all to do with competition. Low stock, high competition, supply and demand goes up. High stock, even if it's the same, low competition based on the high stock, price can tend to be a little bit less competitive. Especially when you've got to understand, Mark, talk through I touched on it, but it's not emotional.
Complicated. This is complicated. Can I overlay that again, the banana principle? So guys and girls, this is called the banana jumping property. This is how some people have made an absolute fortune in buying new property. You must understand this. You must follow this. And we would love for you to share this with friends and family, because it is very, very important. I use the principle of bananas because we get our head around a little bit more. My family eats 6, and I'm going to give you the principle of bananas again. I'll overlay this on how you make money out of project off the plan sales with this principle. I consume as a family 6 bananas a week. I can't consume 10, 20 or 30 bananas. They are useless to me. So when selling bananas, when I walk into the supermarket and the person says, I want to sell you 30 or 50 bananas, I don't have a need for those friggin' bananas. I don't want those bananas. But there is a point in price where if you bring that price down enough for those 50 bananas, I will buy them, i.e. 10% of what I normally pay. You may compel me to buy the box and then give them to friends and family. And overlaying that on off the plan with property is the exact same thing. Yes. When you look at a suburb like DY, allow me to overlay it now. When you look at a suburb like DY only ever sells, say, 10 3-bedders a month. Full stop. That's all it sells. It just keeps going, and it keeps 10 every month. There's 10 3-bedders, 10 3-bedders, 10 3-bedders. When someone like Meriton comes around, and just for example, I know these aren't exact numbers, but just let me use these numbers. Meriton's got to sell 300 3-bedroom units, but the suburb only ever sells 10. It's sold 10 3-bedders for the last 20 years. How the hell do you sell more than 10 3-bedders in a suburb when you've got 300? You must discount them. Now, if you're the clever rabbit that buys those units at a discounted price, guess what happens when Meriton's has sold all of their bananas? Guess what happened when DY is going back to its normal level and there's not 300 properties for sale? Suddenly the building sold out. Suddenly it goes back to its same old 10 or 11 units that are selling every month, and the price goes
up. And the amount of, and I've only really seen this heavily with Meriton, where buyers regret not buying in it when it was off the plan, when they had 50 to choose from, because once it's been completed, everyone has spoken so highly about the development that when something comes on the market and it ticks most of the boxes, they're just jumping on it as well. So especially if you do your checks on the builder and the developer and you know they give a good product, you can almost leverage a lot of people's fear, skepticism about buying off the plan. And then when it's built, if there's none left at the end, and then you put yours on the market, and then there's a lot of buyers who are like, damn, it came out really good. They finished it on time. The kitchen is beautiful. The bathroom is beautiful. I really wish there was one that could buy now. And if you've got that one they love, they may pay very, very great money for it.
That's banana remorse.
That's it, banana remorse. But also be mindful, you made a good point off air, Mark, be mindful there's not other development in the area as well. That there's not another development
of bananas to sell, then you're not gonna get that banana bump. You're not gonna get that banana jump that we're talking about today. But can we use that we have got an opportunity for this at the moment to give you example. We're going to give you a live example today, and we're going to pull this back in 6 months, this example, to prove to you the banana jump phenomena that we're talking about. Tell us about the storage units that we've got that are going to do the banana jump.
Yes, so we've got these storage units in Middleton Road, Cromer. I'm just bringing it up now. They've basically been at the same price for 6 to 12 months, and the market has definitely moved. To put in, I'm just sharing the screen. Where is it? Here we go. So this is what they look like. You sort of entry level is about $168,000 for 25 square meters. Now, to put this into perspective, when these had the price set, let's say 12 months ago, the equivalent was, if it was 168,000, Brookvale, which is say 5% superior, it would be 175. To put this into perspective, Brookvale for a 20 square meter is at 200,000. So as soon as these have all sold out, there's going to be at least, I think, 30. I know you said 10 to 20, Mark, but knowing where Brookvale is at 10 grand a meter, 9 grand a meter, and these are at 6, it could be as conservative as 20%, as much as 40%. So
we are going to prove to you the banana jump with these properties. The clever people who buy the last 10 are going to get in low, and they are going to, in 6 months, be able to, in my opinion, educated guess, sell high.
Yeah, even if we have to get Mark to buy it higher to prove ourselves right.
So you're buying them 168. There's one actually just came on for 158 as well, but 156, sorry. But you're buying these massive pieces of storage, which are good real estate because there's not many in the area to buy at the moment, bar this building.
Not this size, they're big.
But there was 120 of these guys. There was too many. There was so many. So the developer's taken 2 or 3 years to sell them out, but he's been selling probably one a week, one every 2 weeks for the last 2 or 3 years. Now we're noticing it selling. They're selling out fast, and people are jumping in. So we even had 5 sell last week. So these will sell out fast. These will do the banana jump. We're going to follow up this story in 6 months' time.
Yes, beautiful. That's a wrap. Thanks, everyone.
See you later.
Cheers. Bye.